This is Radio Romania International. You are listening to our one-hour broadcast in English for listeners in North America, the East Coast. We can also be heard on the internet at www.rri.ro, Channel 1. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and other social media platforms. Our programs are also available on TuneIn, Radio Romania International 1. We wish you good reception conditions.
Bringing you the news. First, the headlines. European leaders, including Romania's interim president Ilie Bolojan, got together in Paris to discuss Ukraine's security. Romanian Prime Minister Marcel Ciolacu discussed in Bucharest with Polish Foreign Minister Radoslav Sikorski. And Romanian state institutions spent less on goods and services in the first 2 months of the year compared to the same period in 2024. Said Finance Minister Stanton Barney. The government in Bucharest adopted on Thursday an emergency order according to which Romanian citizens who do not reside in Romania but in another EU member state can receive electronic identity cards with the value of a travel document. This guarantees the right to free movement and residence within the Union. For citizens who prove that their main residence is in a state other than Romania, the field referring to the person's domicile will not be copied on the electronic identity card. In addition, the person concerned must have a validated account on the Hub platform, the service and information portal of the Ministry of the Interior, with the exception of Romanian citizens who are minors under 18 years of age. The procedure for creating and validating these accounts will be established by an order of the Minister of the Interior within 90 days of the adoption of the emergency order. Romania will participate in the working group for monitoring compliance with the ceasefire agreement in the Black Sea because it is a strategic area for the Romanian state, said Ilie Bolojan on Thursday at the end of the Paris Summit on Security in Ukraine, which he attended with leaders from 31 states. Constanța is the most important port on the Black Sea, and Romania will participate in this working group through the infrastructure it has, but also through the collaboration with Turkey and Bulgaria on demining, the Romanian head of state also said. On the other hand, Ilie Bolojan reiterated that Romania will not send any military personnel to Ukraine. In Paris, in the presence of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, Ukraine's allies ruled out any lifting of sanctions against Russia. Romanian Prime Minister Marcel Ciolacu met in Bucharest on Thursday with Polish Foreign Minister Radoslav Sikorski, during which the strong cooperation between the two states within the EU and common interests were highlighted, especially regarding the security on NATO's eastern flank. We are strengthening our partnership and supporting the Polish EU presidency's objective of having a stronger European Union, said Marcel Ciolacu in a post on the government's X page. Also on Thursday, Radoslav Sikorski discussed with his Romanian counterpart, Emil Borezeanu. The voices on the eastern flank must be heard, and their opinion must be taken into account when talking about Ukraine, the head of Romanian diplomacy said. In these stormy times, our collaboration with Romania is becoming increasingly important, the Polish official said in turn. He also said that Poland and Romania are close allies and partners. Romanian public institutions spent over 76 million euros less on goods and services in the first 2 months of the year compared to the same period in 2024, said Finance Minister Stanton Barna. He stressed that a reduction in operating expenses of 5% was achieved at the state budget level and of almost 4% at the local authorities level. According to data from the Ministry of Finance, during the mentioned period, the deficit was 1.58% of the gross domestic product, compared to 1.64% of the GDP in the first 2 months of 2024. The Bucharest government announced that it will continue the campaign to cut expenses for the functioning of the state. It also plans to borrow 13 billion euros from international markets this year, after raising a record amount of 18 billion euros in 2024. Romanian MPs adopted 2 bills on Wednesday, milestones in the National Recovery and Resilience Plan. The first requires members of the government and other dignitaries with positions in the central administration to register in the single register of transparency of interests, as well as the prohibition of requesting or accepting gifts from people they are connected with while performing their duties. The second bill adopted refers to streamlining the activities of public enterprises. The European Union deeply regrets the Trump administration's decision announced on Wednesday evening to impose 25% tariffs on imported cars as of next month. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has warned that such a measure would particularly affect consumers, both European and American. In turn, Canada's new Prime Minister, Mark Carney, has accused Donald Trump of violating bilateral agreements and warned that his country will react with tariffs on American products. Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba has said he's considering all options for response. This is the latest measure in a wide-ranging trade war, the BBC notes. And that was the news.
Romanian MPs have adopted 4 bills stipulated in the Recovery and Resilience Plan. More details in this report by Roxana Vasile. Romanian MPs on Wednesday passed 2 bills that Romania pledged to adopt as part of its Recovery and Resilience Plan.